I said, this is what happens when you get to your late 40s. You get excited about this shit. And then they just looked at me like, that's never going to happen to me. And I thought, well, it is.
It is. When she thought I was out of earshot, I heard her say, I know, it's not very nice. Don't worry, we'll stop at Nando's on the way back because I'm hungry too.
My house, she can go fuck herself. And because, no, she can. Listen, I've got my period. I can be a little bit more aggressive today. And also,
I've completely lost my train of thought.
and he said, I did ask Lauren to come, but she had a GP appointment. And I said, what do you mean she had a GP appointment? I don't know about any GP appointment. And then he looked at me like I was being weird. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 40ish. I'm Nicole Goodman.
And I'm Lauren Mishcon.
This is the podcast that navigates challenges and absurdities of 40-something life. And every episode, we chat about your problems, issues, rants and meltdowns that you have kindly shared with us. And we also share our own shit and mess of navigating midlife.
That sounds delightful.
Well, that's the show. That's the show. Probably could have done without the swearing, but that is the show.
It doesn't sound that appealing on that premise, does it? Here's all the shit.
Well, hold on, but that's...
Yeah, I know.
This is what's written down. This is the podcast that navigates the challenges and absurdities of 40-something life. Every episode we discuss your problems, issues and rants you've kindly shared with us and also divulge our own stories about the problems and mess of navigating midlife. You've actually written problems twice. That's the script. I didn't go that far away from it.
No. It's just the more I hear it, the less appealing it sounds.
Well, we get a lot of feedback telling us how great the show is. So let's just stick with it.
Okay.
Come on, tell us what's going on in your 40ish life.
Well, something pretty middle-aged is going on.
It has to be middle-aged.
It is.
Because you are.
And you're going to take the piss. And I'm just going to have to suck that up because I don't care.
Maybe I won't take the piss.
You will.
Maybe I'll surprise you. Maybe I will shock you. Maybe I will throw you through a loop and I won't take the piss. Maybe I'll be very compassionate and understanding.
You won't.
I might.
You won't.
I'm going to try. I don't know what you're going to say, but I'm going to try.
I decided, because it's coming up to the summer and it's quite warm, that I would like a bench in my garden. A nice bench at the back where the sun shines in the late afternoon to sit and have a cup of tea and just be middle-aged in my garden. Okay, you're nodding, but I can tell already you're like, oh, Jesus. And then I thought, because I've had this plan for like quite a while as the winter's been going, it'd be so nice because I'm going to make it a memorial bench for my dog. But the thing is, he's not dead.
No, he's not dead. But you also don't have the bench.
Well, I am getting the bench this week, but it feels a bit weird to put his name on it while he's still like trotting around the garden. So I think what I'm going to do is just get the bench, and then when the sad day comes, I'm going to find like
a plaque.
Oh yeah, I was about to say someone to carve. But that would be much harder to find than like a plaque you can do online and then screw
also
it onto
known
the
as
bench.
A carver.
A carver.
Or like a...
Carpenter?
Yeah.
Woodsman? Someone with big arms? I don't know.
Aidan. You need Aidan.
I basically do want Aidan, but Aidan would build me the bench.
Aidan from Sex and City.
But he'd make it
into a love
bench.
seat.
Oh yeah,
and
he'd make it out of two types of imperfect wood. And blah blah. Anyway,
and how the two imperfect woods then meet in the middle and they become one. That's what he did for Carrie.
It's so true. And yet, look what she did to him.
Well, they're back together, aren't they? Sort of.
Are they? Aren't they? We don't know yet. Anyway, the plaque. Hadn't thought of that. Good call. So
what were you going to get carved? Just his name?
I guess. Well, I hadn't really gone that far.
You'd gone quite far. I mean, you've gone quite far.
I mean, I can't ever do something nice without there being a morbid undertone because that just seems to be how I roll. So, it couldn't just be like... You're going to
put the bench... But the thing is, people do memorial benches in parks so that other people can sort of think of their memory, in memory of.
Yes.
And then people sit on the bench and they see the plaque. And
I have seen them. It has crossed my life. Yeah,
that's how they work. And then you sort of read it, and it's like a message from the husband or the wife, and it's like such a sweet thing. And then you have a moment for this older couple that are no longer together, and it's a lovely moment for a stranger. It's like a moment of humanity, isn't it? A drop of humanity in the ocean. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But you're putting it in your garden.
Yeah.
Why don't you put it in the woods where he loved being?
I don't think that you can just randomly drop a bench in the woods. I think that's fly tipping.
Also,
yeah,
you have got garden furniture. You could just move it to the back in the afternoon. I mean, we moved your garden furniture.
Do me a favour.
What do you mean do me a favour? We moved your garden furniture yesterday. It took about 12 seconds and it wasn't remotely heavy.
Although
I have to say, not the glass table, just the chair. They've got stools. And also yesterday, when we were putting the glass on the table, you were like, I need help. I'm like, okay. And you lifted this glass up as if it was about 4 tons.
It was heavy.
It wasn't heavy. And I'm thinking, why is she like with the huffing and the puffing?
Because I don't lift stuff.
But it wasn't, it was like lifting like no more than a light shopping bag.
All right, Incredible Hulk.
I'm just saying, your garden furniture is not particularly heavy. You can put it at the back.
I don't want to. I want a bench.
Okay.
I want a bench.
All right. You can have a bench. Have a bench.
Yeah, I'm having one.
Where'd you get benches from?
The garden centre of...
Is that why you went yesterday before work?
I've already had my eye on one and I just went to check that it was still there, and it is.
How much are benches?
And it rocks, let me just say.
It rocks?
Yeah, it's a rocking bench. Well, Ollie was a bit not so sure about it. He was like, but what if you don't want to rock? What if you want to stay still? I was
then
like,
put your feet on the ground.
I was like, well, it's not very rocky. It's a very mild rock. I have tested it. He was like, I'm sure it's fine. I trust you.
How much are benches?
Well, they range.
I can't imagine a rocking bench is very cheap. I reckon it's at least 500 quid.
No, they range from like 100 quid up to about 300 quid, depending on the wood and the size. They're not that expensive.
I mean, I'm not taking the piss. I'm a bit bemused by the whole thing.
Listen, I get it that it is not for you to want to sit on a bench in the back of your garden with a cup of tea in the late afternoon. But it is for me.
Have you seen what's at the back of my garden?
It's a large egg chair.
It's like a hammock.
I've never seen anyone sit in it. Does anyone sit in it? Ever? Has anyone sat in it?
Yeah.
Do they? Do you sit in it?
I don't like the way you said egg chair. I'm just saying.
That's actually the official name of that piece of furniture.
The tone. It was the tone in which you said
I like
egg chair.
an egg chair.
It had a hint of judgment with an undertone of dislike.
I like an egg chair. And actually...
An egg chair, but not my egg chair.
Actually, when Aldi had the egg chair in stock, I was scouting that every half an hour on the website. And the second it came in, it was out, gone again. Because they are very expensive. And the Aldi one was about 100 quid.
Well, I don't need one because I've got one.
Okay, but you know, garden furniture.
I didn't take the piss, did I?
You didn't, but I can tell you're not really feeling it. But it's okay.
You know,
but
look,
thanks for the plaque idea, because that actually is a very good idea.
You are welcome. And it's also not my vibe to sit at the back of my garden with a cup of tea and just stop for 5 minutes.
No.
Because if I was going to do that, I could do that with my own egg chair. I could lend you my egg chair.
I don't know how you would manage to do that. Maybe you could just carry it over because it's not that heavy.
Yeah, it's heavier than the glass. I have to say that I realised something quite profound this week.
Oh, yeah.
I realised that I was a fully grown adult.
You've just realised that this week?
I did like
age 48.
Proper adulting.
Okay, let's hear it.
And this woman pulled out of a turning and she didn't see me and she went straight into the side of my car.
Ouch.
Wasn't amazing. She's done a lot of damage to my car and her car.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got out. I was fucked off because I was on my way to play paddle. And I didn't want to miss my court. These courts are so hard to come by that if you miss it's just annoying, right? Anyway, so I was obviously had to stop. And the damage, she'd like bashed in the whole side of my car. And she's like, are you all right? I'm like, well, not really. You've just driven into my car. And she's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. Anyway, she was young. I would say she was in her late 20s. And she was so upset and in such a terrible state of shock of what she'd done, she basically just burst into tears.
Oh, dear.
She's like, is there anyone else in the car? I'm just so sorry. I'm just so sorry. Are you okay? And I'm like, are you okay? She's like, I'm fine. I'm not her. I don't know what to do. And she just bawled her eyes out. So I thought, okay, well, I'm supposed to be pissed off here. And didn't your dad always teach you, like, in an accident, like, never admit to fault, never say sorry, never do anything, just always...
Just get all the details.
Get all the details, stay very stern and never admit to anything. Well, listen, it was categorically not my fault. Anyway, this poor woman, the young woman, was in floods of tears. I had to give her a hug. I had to give her a hug, and I was, like, talking her down from the bloody ledge, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself... That is such a grown-up thing to do. Like, I had to be the adult in this situation.
You did.
I was a proper adult.
Well done.
I calmed her down.
Yeah.
I've told her it doesn't matter. It's only metal, which it is.
It's so true.
I mean, she has bashed my fucking car up.
I've seen it. It is a bit of a mess.
And then I went to get an estimate on it today for the insurance, and he was like, this, and every 5 seconds he was like, oh, look what she's done here.
Dear.
Oh, God, look at the
Dear.
wheel. And then he opened the door. He's like, oh, my God. And I don't even know what I'm going to find when I take that panel off. And I was like, is this fixable? He's like, oh, yeah, but, you know. I said, well, how long is it going to take us? Oh, I couldn't say. I'm like, any idea? Yeah.
By Christmas.
Yeah. I said, is it going to take a few weeks? Oh, yeah, at least.
Oh, dear. So you got no car.
I have got a car.
Oh, you got a courtesy car.
I haven't got the courtesy car yet.
Oh.
They were just
Oh,
giving
they were
me...
just giving you a rough estimate.
Which he
Very
didn't.
rough by the sounds of it.
And he didn't even give me a time frame. Anyway, it's booked in for next week.
Okay. Well, I wish it better.
Thanks.
And well done for adulting.
Thanks. I really adulted.
Well
like, she
done.
really needed a hug,
Yeah.
that poor girl. And I was thinking, like, if that was my daughter,
Yeah.
what would I want the stranger to do? You would want the stranger to be kind.
You would. You don't need like verbal abuse at 20 to 7 in the morning.
She didn't mean it. It was an accident. And at the end of the day, it is only a bloody car. As long as both of us didn't have whiplash and nothing, you know, what difference does it make?
I once was in the Waitrose car park of a weekend morning alone. And I was
Of a weekend morning?
Yeah.
What a weird way to say a sentence.
It was the morning and it was the weekend. It was a weekend morning. And I was unpacking the shopping into the boot and I hadn't put the brake.
Is the weekend morning remotely relevant to this?
No. And I hadn't put the brake on the trolley and the trolley rolled.
There's brakes on trolleys.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
At the bottom.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Never put a brake on the trolley. Never will. Got to tell you.
You
never will.
You will after this. I didn't put the brake on the trolley and the trolley rolled, not at great speed, but it did roll across the car park a little bit into another car, into a car. Anyway, this guy got out.
Can I just stop you?
Yeah.
Right, for 1 second.
Yeah.
I know you're going to say he was very abusive.
He was.
That's where we're going with this on
Yeah.
the weekend morning.
Yeah.
Are you actually comparing your Waitrose trolley brushing up against somebody else's car versus my horrible car accident and my brand new car is completely smashed up? Is this what we're doing
Yeah.
now?
And I'll tell you why.
Because he was really abusive.
Because this guy got out the car and like went for my fucking throat. That's my car. That's my new car. Put the fucking brake on the trolley. Da, 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 da.
Did it scratch it?
I mean, it was maybe a 2 centimetre mark. Or it was
Nothing.
Like, unless you're looking with a microscope, nothing. Anyway.
What
because
did you say?
I was like, I'm really sorry. It was honestly an accident. Da, da, da. We exchanged numbers.
You exchanged numbers?
Yes. This guy started texting me, like quite abusive texts, at 6 o'clock every morning for a week.
When? When
It
was this?
Quite a few years ago. Until I basically paid him the money for the scratch.
How much
on
did you have to
the
pay
car.
him?
I can't remember. Oh, he got a... Oh, no. I'll tell you what happened. He said, I've taken the car to my mate in the garage and he's told me it's going to be £450 to replace it. So I want the money.
lying.
Yeah. So I want the money transferred. Da, 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 da. And I was like, well, I haven't actually seen a quote from your guy
Or a photo
at
of
the
the
garage.
scratch.
I said, so perhaps you could supply me with a photo. I did take photos, some evidence, the quote from the garage, and then I will speak to the garage and
Yeah.
I'll sort it out. Never heard from him again after that. So I never paid him.
What a horrible, horrible, horrible man.
So why I'm comparing it to your story is because I did really nothing and I got abused for a week, and this girl smashed the crap out of your car and got a hug. So there you go. But just before we get on with the dilemmas, a quick disclaimer: we're not doctors, we're not healthcare professionals, we're not car mechanics, we're not bench carvers, we don't make plaques.
Bench carvers, I don't think that's a thing. I don't actually think that's a job.
It might be. It might be a subsect of carpentry. I don't know.
I reckon like a tattoo artist could do it.
Maybe. Do you know any?
No.
Okay. We're just middle-aged women answering your questions in a studio in London.
Yeah.
of a weekend morning. No, it's not.
That was the weirdest sentence I've ever heard you say.
It's not a weekend morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could be totally wrong. So if there is an issue that you are seriously struggling with, please contact a qualified expert. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Nicole. I have a silly work dilemma and I was wondering what your advice would be. I work in a care home that supports people with mental health issues. I love my job, but as you can imagine, there are tough shifts to deal with. So here comes my ridiculous dilemma. On a few occasions, I've offered lifts home to a couple of work colleagues. They live in the total opposite direction of where I live, and it adds at least an extra 30 plus minutes to my journey home.
Oh.
The issue is they are now expecting me to take them home every time. They don't even ask me anymore. They assume that I'm happy to do it, and it's driving me mad. I admit I am a yes person. I find it very difficult to just say no without a good reason. But at the end of a shift, my social battery is dead and I need to get home to de-stress ASAP. I suffer with clinical depression, and having just got through a very bad period of time, my mental health is a priority for me.
Yes. Yes.
I'm also on a tight budget, and this costs me extra petrol, and they have never offered me a penny towards it. I know that the answer is to just tell them that I can't do it, but I am a blooming wimp and I really struggle. Any thoughts? Love the show. Literally laugh out loud listening to you guys, and I tell anyone I know to listen in. You've gotten me through some tough times.
Aww. Well, firstly, thank you for your kind words, and thank you for writing in. There's something that Brene Brown always says.
Yes.
A moment of discomfort is better than 6 months of resentment, or whatever it is. So a moment of discomfort, which is in the telling, saying, sorry, I can't, is better than you then resenting them, resenting yourself for such a long period of time, and then having to do the thing that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because it is only going to be a moment of discomfort, and it is fair enough if you A, don't have time, and B, don't want to. And you could just say, I'm sorry, I can't today.
But they're not even asking anymore. It's basically become a habit. They leave the shift and they just walk to the car with her, don't they? And they expect the lift home.
I don't think there is any other way around it than putting your big boy pants on and saying, and just being really brave and really uncomfortable and saying, I can't take you home. I don't have time. I've got to get back. And it's half an hour out of my way.
And the other thing is, as she says, they are all care workers in a home for people with mental health issues. So I think it is fair enough to be able to, she doesn't have to say to them, you know, I've got my own stuff going on and this is a very stressful job, as you know, because you do it too, and I need to go home and decompress. But I am going to just make an assumption that they are caring, thoughtful, understanding human beings because of the job that they all do. So it would be easier to have this kind of difficult conversation with them than it would be maybe with other people. In IT, for example.
In IT?
Well, you know, they're in a caring
we're going to
job.
get trolled now with people that are in IT.
Sorry,
saying,
IT people. I'm sure you're delightful.
Yeah, she's generalising. It was only a joke.
Yeah. Don't troll us for that, IT people. The thing is, the IT people can troll us like properly because they're in IT. So that was like a really bad thing to pick.
They really
could,
are.
like,
They
hack us.
They could create bots.
Oh, they could do anything. Please don't.
Their trolling could be worse than anybody's. Why did you pick the people in IT?
I don't know. It was such an error. Anyway.
Listen, I think it is okay to say that. I understand that it is really uncomfortable and really awkward. I just don't know if there's any other way around it.
Also, don't you and I always say, like, you don't have to say more than is necessary. So you don't have to give them all the answers of, I really can't afford the petrol. It's also adding 30 minutes onto my journey. I'm also not feeling great in myself at the moment, so I'm feeling stressed and I need to get home. You can just say, I'm really sorry. I'm not able to give you a lift this week.
I wouldn't even say I'm really sorry. I think you have to be very careful in the language.
What would you say? If I just rock up at your passenger door?
Well, no, I would front foot it at the beginning of the day so you don't have to stress about it the whole time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And say, I can't take you back tonight. I've got to get home. It's really, really simple. It's not rude. It's just direct. It's clear. I can't take you home today. I haven't got time. The problem is you're then going to have the problem the next time and then the next time and the next time. So I think the boundary is just going to need to be put up. Or you could just make a joke out of it and say, oh, I was only offering that one time. It seems to become a bit of a habit, but actually I can't go 30 minutes out of my way. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I've said sorry again.
Well, you could say, listen, on the Monday morning, listen, I'm not able to do any lifts this week. It's a busy week for me. And then maybe by the Friday, it's the habits kind of dropped a bit.
Yeah.
And by Monday, they might not ask anymore. And,
Yeah.
you know, maybe if it's a dark, cold, rainy night and you really feel like it and you have got the bandwidth, fine.
No,
But in the other times,
I don't think so, because they seem to then, she then gets herself into a situation that she can't seem to get herself out of.
But I think that's very good advice. Front foot it first thing in the morning.
Definitely don't wait till they're rocking up to your car with you,
No,
because then it's really awkward.
Very awkward.
And also it gives them a chance to figure out how they're going to get home. So it's the kind of thing to do for them.
Although as adults, they already should be figuring out how to get home from their own job.
They have. It's
In
with
her
her.
car.
So the weather's warmer.
It is. We're in T-shirts.
We are. And we walked to the studio without coats or anything.
It was great.
And on Sunday morning, I was so excited that the weather was warmer that Lily Rose had a friend over and I was doing the washing. Of course, on a Sunday morning. What else would I be doing?
Of a weekend morning. You could have added it in there and that would have actually been fine.
Oh, I just totally missed the opportunity.
I know.
But it's still a weird sentence.
Okay, anyway.
I was doing the washing of a weekend morning.
Yeah.
How's that?
Great.
The sun was shining.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to get out my portable washing line
The one on wheels.
and put it in the garden. And I think the words were, oh, I can get the washing line out and put it in the garden.
Did you hear yourself say it?
I didn't until the two 14-year-olds sat in the kitchen, looked at me and just burst out laughing.
Like you are the most tragic person to ever have lived.
And
Yeah.
I basically turned around to them and said, am I like totally tragic? They were like, yeah. And I said, this is what happens when you get to your late 40s. You get excited about this shit. And then they just looked at me like, that's never going to happen to me. And I thought, well, it is.
It is. You think it won't, but it will. I had a similar, very short moment of that this morning, which really caught me by surprise. Josh, because it's the summer term, they play cricket and they do it in cricket whites. And obviously they play on the grass. So you get the white,
Always.
the white trousers
With
with
the
the
stains.
bright green
Yeah.
grass stains
On the knees.
on the knees. And I was by the washing machine putting on the Vanish spray and like soaking the stains and thinking to myself momentarily, there is a part of me that's really enjoying this, and putting like the Glow Bright in the washing machine and thinking like, I can't wait for them to come out and they're going to be like clean. And then I thought, oh my God, what happened to me? I think I used to be cool.
And you never see it coming.
You don't.
never see it coming. What has happened
If
to
someone had said to me when I was in my 20s, one weekday morning.
One weekend morning. One morning of a weekend. Was it? One morning on a weekend. No, what was the weird sentence?
Of a weekday morning.
Of a weekend morning.
One morning, you're going to be in a laundry room with Vanish spray, feeling quite happy. What would I have done? You can't run away from your future, but I would have tried.
Sorry to tell you, I think that's also happened to you in your 30s. For me, it's new. I'm just saying. I've only just started to relate to it. For you, I feel like this has been around for a long, long time. Would you agree?
I'd say it's gone worse.
My God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know. That combined with the bench.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The bench. And then I was going to give my example, which I can't even fucking remember what I said in the first segment. What did I even talk about? What did I even talk about? Hold on. Don't tell me. I mean, to say I have drawn a blank. I don't know what I talked about. Oh, the car accident.
Well done.
Thanks.
Should we get on to our second question?
Yeah.
I'm interested to know your opinion on this. Hi, ladies. I wanted to know if you two would be offended by this situation that happened to me on the weekend. She doesn't specify if it's the morning. We hosted my friend, her husband, and their 2 kids on Sunday. The weather was great, so we agreed in advance to picky bits in the garden.
Picky bits.
Picky bits in the garden.
I love picky bits in the garden.
Yeah. I served mini sausages, mini pizzas, chips, chicken nuggets, and some Chinese starter spring roll type things, all from Iceland.
Sorry, is this for the kids or for everyone?
I think for everyone.
Right, okay.
I could tell my friend's daughter wasn't very happy when she saw the spread, and she pulled a yuck face to my friend when she tried something. My friend also didn't eat, and when she thought, oh, it's so bad. When she thought I was out of earshot, I heard her say, I know, it's not very nice. Don't worry, we'll stop at Nando's on the way back because I'm hungry too.
That is so rude.
When she came inside, I said, sorry if you don't like the food. And she said that they would have just eaten before if they'd known what it was going to be. I feel like she's being really snobby and ungrateful. It's not like Nando's chips are any better or any healthier.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, first of all, before you threw the Nando's curveball in, I was going to say, you know what? I like to eat healthy. And so if I was going somewhere, was it for dinner?
No, it was
like a tea?
Lunch, I think. She just said Sunday afternoon.
So it's like a tea.
Sunday.
It's not really a meal. It's a non-meal.
What's going on, James?
For your benefit, I was trying to sneak in so you didn't have to edit.
We never like you sneaking in. We always like you to be part of the show, James.
Hi, gang!
Hi, James.
He's a bit moody today. I asked him if he wanted a hug. He was very clear that he didn't.
It's like, I don't have time. I don't have time for hugs today.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't going to take that long, James. We weren't going to, like, hold you.
I wasn't going to caress
like,
you and stroke
pat
your
your
back.
head.
I was only offering.
We weren't going to rockabye baby for 15 minutes.
Fucking hell. Anyway, he then said, no, well, I still don't have time. I'm like, okay, I'll send you one. He's like, what? Send me what? I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about it.
Never mind. Never mind.
He said people are taking chunks out of him today, he said.
Well, we're just getting on with our business, aren't we?
Are we taking chunks out of
I
him?
don't think so.
I think he thinks we always take chunks out of him.
It's only because we love him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, you like to eat healthy, yes. I think it's lunch.
This would have been a problematic spread for me too, but I certainly wouldn't have mouthed things or said anything to my kids, or I would have kept it totally to myself, and that was the end of it. If that's what she wants to put out, I'm sure she did it very nicely. It's just not the kind of food that I like to eat. But then when you said they're going to go to Nando's after, okay, so it's not a healthy thing. What difference does it make? It's rude.
I think, first off, I would like to say you are not being in any way unreasonable, and I would also be quite offended. It is snobby and it is rude. But
Does she know? I want to know, does the friend know that she heard her say it?
Well, she did say, I'm sorry if you don't like the food when she came inside. So she must know that she saw something.
Well, I mean, she's lucky that that's all you said, because you could have said something like, you know what, your attitude isn't particularly polite and I've gone to a lot of trouble, and if you don't like it, then
but now can we
stick
move
it
on?
up your arse.
Can we move on to the much more interesting conversation of picky bits in the garden? I do feel, having looked at this list of food, there are some gaping errors here. I'm sorry. I'm not saying she wasn't. She was very rude and she was very ungrateful. But if you're going to Iceland, where is the prawn ring? Where is it? It's a big ring of prawns with mayo in the middle. Delicious. Why have you missed that out? If it's good enough for Kerry Katona, it's good enough for you. Plus, what is Picky Bits in the Garden without cucumber and carrot sticks? They are an absolute must-have, surely.
And a bit of fruit.
Yeah.
And a bit of fruit.
Cut up an apple, shove out some strawberries,
Yeah.
right? And for me, I know not for you, but for me, got to have a bowl of olives.
Cheese. Oh.
Bowl of olives. And let me tell you what is missing from all of this that would have just brought the whole Picky Bits in the Garden together and no one would complain.
A grazing table.
No. Crisps.
A grazing table.
Crisps.
A grazing table.
She doesn't want to do a grazing table. She wants to pop to Iceland and put out some Picky Bits in the garden and relax.
Let me
and
tell you
enjoy
something.
a day.
Back to the grazing table. The grazing table is the easiest thing to do in the whole wide world, because if you'd have just thrown some crisps, thrown some grapes, thrown some pizza bits, thrown some chicken nuggets, whatever she threw, you throw it all on a grazing table. I promise you, everyone's eating that shit.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but when you say to me, Picky Bits in the Garden,
But that's
I
not-
can't imagine it without the carrots and the cucumber sticks. There are children, therefore there are carrots and cucumber sticks.
Even without the
Aren't there?
I love carrots and cucumber sticks with a bit of hummus. Never been happier with that.
But how isn't that on a Picky Bits in the Garden
This
table?
is not about what was on the table.
For me, it is.
No, it isn't.
I'm in
No.
agreement with everything else. I'm in agreement with her 100%. But I'm sorry, her Picky Bits in the Garden spread, it needs a little bit of refinement. It does. Get it all from Iceland, but also get a fucking cucumber from Iceland.
Can't get cucumber from Iceland.
Excuse me, you can get fresh food in Iceland.
This isn't about what was on the table
Oh,
for the
but
Picky
it
Bits.
is.
It isn't.
Oh,
it
but it
isn't.
is.
It isn't. It isn't. And I think it's unfair. And we have both picked it to pieces, because I said I wouldn't want that spread either, and I wouldn't want to eat like that. But it's not about that. It's about how rude her friend was and what's she going to do about her friend. I would not be able to let that go. That friend would not get a fucking invite back to my house. She can go fuck herself. And because, no, she can. Listen, I've got my period. I can be a little bit more aggressive today. And also,
I've completely lost my train of thought. Because I might have my period like a cool 20-something, but I'm actually 48. And my brain fog is on fire today. And also, I don't know, but I'm still angry about it, whatever it is. And she's not your friend.
what the fuck was I going to say? How
do I know? I don't live in your
What
head.
was I saying?
You were saying she can go fuck herself, and also, and then you forgot because you got so angry.
She can go fuck herself.
I've got my period, then you forgot.
She can go fuck herself. It was really good.
Well, anyway,
If it comes back
I
to me.
agree. That is really,
It literally
really
just dropped out of my head.
interesting.
Is it? Is it interesting? Dropped out of my head.
Oh dear.
She can go fuck herself though. That's not okay.
No, it's very, very.
She wouldn't
rude.
get an invite back.
It's very, very
Oh,
rude.
I know what it was.
Okay.
Also, because I named myself and crowned myself hostess with the mostess,
You did.
hostess of the year.
Universe, I think it was.
Really?
Yeah,
2025. Hostess of the universe. Is that what I said?
you did. Yeah.
Wow, I really went for it.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Stop distracting me.
I'm just sitting here.
Do you know what? It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. The friend's wrong.
The friend is wrong, and
this
I'm in
lovely woman has
agreement.
gone to, everyone hostesses in a different way. Okay? You and I pride ourselves on our hostessing skills. Not everybody. Everyone just, you don't know how busy she is. She could have been working that whole morning, then ran to Iceland and just picked up whatever she could grab and stuck it on the table. And, even that was like a bit of an ask because she had so much going on that morning. You don't know. Don't know. So we shouldn't judge. But, the friend is an asshole.
The friend is an asshole, but also
And she's also teaching her daughter to be an asshole.
Agreed. But also, please don't invite me to your garden. You can literally give me a glass of wine and just some crisps, and I'll be so happy. Like, that's it. That's all I need. Any crisps, but not cheese and onion.
We've got it.
Yeah.
We've got it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give you crisps for lunch. How do you feel about that?
I've actually had lunch already, but I would be so.
What do you
fine
mean
with
you've
that.
had lunch already? What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
What do you mean?
I had lunch already
Why?
Because it was lunchtime
No,
and
it
I was
wasn't.
hungry.
No, it wasn't.
It was 12
lunchtime.
o'clock.
That's not lunchtime. That is not lunchtime.
It is if you're 2.5.
It is if you're 2.5, but
Yeah.
you happen to be 47.
Yeah.
Why have you had lunch so early? We're supposed to have lunch together.
I was. Says who? Where's that rule come from? I was hungry. Okay, I'll tell you the thought process. I was hungry. I knew that we were starting recording in the studio at 12:30, and I thought by 1:30 I'll be a bit over hungry and not able to do my show very well. So I'll have a little bit of lunch, and then I'll feel, like I've eaten and my brain works and everything else.
What did you have?
I had some leftover salmon that I had made last night and some broccoli that was in the fridge.
I made a whole chicken thing last night, just with some roasted vegetables, some
nice.
chicken breasts, some onion and
Lovely.
peppers and tomatoes.
Yep.
And I just stuck it in the air fryer, put some seasoning on it. It was delicious.
Great.
Had that for my dinner.
Yeah.
And there was loads left over.
Yeah.
And I thought, Lauren and I can have this and I'll make it up into a salad. I'll put pomegranate seeds on seeds. It'll be a whole gorgeous like roasted vegetables / chicken salad.
Mm. Uh-oh.
Now I'm having it on my own.
But you could just give me a glass of wine and some crisps. I'll be very happy.
You're not going to have a glass of wine at 2:00 in the afternoon, are you?
I'm
What,
not.
on a Tuesday?
Ooh, what would happen? The wine, please come.
Oh, what do you mean what would happen?
With a weekday wine, please.
You're not
come.
supposed to be drinking.
Why?
You said
What
you
do
weren't
mean I'm
drinking.
not supposed to be.
You said it on this show. Oh, I don't drink anymore. I've basically given up drinking. You
I've
said.
basically started again.
Oh.
We got sent some mixers from Fever Tree because
Yeah.
they're sponsoring the
Yes,
pod.
they looked amazing. That
Right.
limey
And you can
margarita-y
make
one.
home margaritas and home mojitos. And basically, I thought, I'm going to test this shit out. So I said to Ollie, right.
But it doesn't stop your hangover. You said you felt dreadful in the mornings.
Suddenly I'm feeling okay now. But as the advert that I wrote says, you can like make a whole cocktail, but it doesn't feel like you made a cocktail because the mix is made for you. I was like, listen, you can make me a margarita. All you got to do is put
Pour it.
tequila and add that and put some ice in and make me a spicy margarita. And he was like, okay.
Is it spicy?
No, I bought the
A chili.
special tagine that
Oh,
goes
I've got
around
that.
the rim. So I was like, go on, even you know, it's like a 2-step process, put an ice cube in it, done. So I had one, I was like, has to be, he was like, I don't understand. How do you put the salt or the sugar or the thing on the rim? I was like, you wet the rim of the glass and then you
With some
put it
lime.
upside,
Wet it with some
and
lime.
you just put it upside
Yeah.
down. He couldn't. I did that. It was great.
It wasn't really a 2-step process, is it? It's like you with the piggy
It's
bits.
not
I
like
mean,
you
it's
haven't got to like do the limes and the, you just pour.
No. And then you got to wet.
Well, you don't.
You got to do that
have
first.
to-
Oh, yeah, you do.
I
But
have to.
you know what I especially like in a bar when they do it on one side?
Yes.
I love it when it's on
also
one
like
side.
that.
Yeah, because then you get,
Yeah.
you can pick.
But what I'm saying was that was like Sunday night. I can't remember what night it was, but it was definitely not a drinking night. But I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm going to have a margarita. It's here.
It wasn't 2:00 on a Tuesday though.
It wasn't, but I'm not going to be
If you started opening some wine at 2:00 on a Tuesday, I would be concerned. I would.
Once. As a one-off. Would you
Well,
be
it was not a
phoning-
one-off because we went out for lunch last week and you had a glass of wine, and
Oh
that
my
was
God,
like
get me a sponsor.
that was like 1:00 on a Wednesday.
Wow.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that was
Day
medicinal.
drinking.
That was medicinal.
If day drinking becomes a bit of a habit, then that is
Yeah.
going to be a problem, isn't it?
Well, it is, but it's not, so it's okay.
Well, it is if we go home and I have to give you crisps and a glass of wine.
God.
I've also got the mixers. Are you going to ask for a margarita now at 2:00 on a Tuesday?
No, that is too early. Although it's sunny. Just rosé will be fine.
Listen, I'm going to keep an eye on this.
Okay,
We'll-
keep a
we'll-
close eye.
I will keep a close eye.
Yeah.
If it's of a weekend morning,
Of a weekend morning. No.
Yeah. I'll also-
Morning? Morning drinking.
listen, I was being facetious to try and get the joke in,
After 11 a.m, actually, that's okay.
which you've missed.
It's okay. Don't worry. I'm not an alcoholic.
I know.
If I
just
am, I'll
thought
let you
I
know.
just thought you'd stopped.
I've started again.
Okay. Well, if you could tell me these things, like, you know, when you're drinking and when you're having lunch. And then I bumped into Ollie, right? I bumped into Ollie on Saturday at the
Yeah.
David Lloyd, and he
Yeah.
sits down with me and my dad, and we're having a coffee, and it's all very nice.
Yeah.
And normally when Ollie speaks, I know every single thing that's coming out of his mouth because I speak to you 1,200 times a day.
Do you pretend that you don't know?
No. You don't? No, I can't.
You don't
I
even
just-
do that social nicety of like, oh, really?
No.
Did you go for dinner there?
No.
I didn't know that. You're like,
No.
she's told me.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
She had the fish.
Yeah. It wasn't very nice.
Then you didn't like the dessert. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's fun.
Yeah. Not for Ollie.
No.
It's fun for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, "Oh, I asked Lauren to come here. He wasn't playing tennis because of his injury, which I knew about, and so then he came to have a swim and go to the gym, and he couldn't be bothered to go to the gym, so he kept sitting down and talking to us, and he was totally procrastinating about the fact that he had to go and work out, and I kept going, Ollie, he's like, I know, but I don't want to go." And he said, "Oh, I did ask Lauren to come, but she had a GP appointment." And I said, "What do you mean she had a GP appointment? I don't know about any GP appointment." And then he looked at me like I was being weird.
I didn't know what time she had lunch, and it was a Tuesday and she had a drink and she booked a GP appointment. I need the info. I need it.
So I said, "What do you mean a GP appointment?" He goes, I don't know. She just had a GP, like a call with the GP. I'm like, "Well, about what?" He's like, "Well, I don't really know." And then
He did know.
well, I'm not going to, announce it, am I?
It wasn't rude.
I'm just saying I didn't know.
You did know.
I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Did I? Now that so much shit has dropped out of my head
Okay.
in this particular episode,
Yeah.
I might have known.
It wasn't that scintillating or embarrassing or rude. Now I feel like you're making it out like I've gone with like some genital warts or something. But
She's gone to discuss her drinking problem.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah.
he didn't get it. He didn't get it. Like when I said, I didn't know about the GP appointment, he just looked at me very blankly, like, why would you know? It's like, why wouldn't I? Like looking at each other, having this whole non-conversation.
I think he does assume that basically every time I breathe, you're aware. I mean, I don't think he thinks that anything goes on in or outside the house that you're not privy to. He just naturally assumes you know.
Great.
Yeah. So it's fine.
Well, as it turns out, I don't. I didn't know you'd stopped drinking, and I didn't know about the GP appointment, and I also didn't know you'd had lunch. So let me just say, we're on a slippery
You're
slope.
feeling very out of the loop. Yeah.
Slippery slope. This is how shit goes down.
Right, I'll log all my meals in our shared Google Calendar
That'd be
in
lovely,
future.
thanks. Oh,
and
yeah.
if I have a drink, I'll note it.
Oh,
and
brilliant.
then you can tally it at the end of the week, and you can tell me if I've got a drinking problem or not. Okay?
Great.
How does that sound
That
to
sounds
you?
awful. Anyway, I think that's our show this
Yeah.
week. Shall we just sign off?
Let's sign off,
Let's
please.
sign off. Lauren needs a drink. She's had lunch, but I need to eat. We will be back on Tuesday with an unfiltered, and where we can discuss your feedback. Please keep your feedback coming in. We absolutely love it. Please keep your dilemmas coming in. hello@40ish.co.uk.
That is correct. You always think it's not, but it is.
Because it feels so short.
It's correct, though.
I know. hello@40ish.co.uk. It's a great email address.
I know, we're so lucky.
You're so lucky. I've never felt luckier. We also pay for it.
We do.
We'll be back on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you then.